I now recognize the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Larsen, for 5 minutes opening statement.
Thank you, Chair Nels and Ranking Member Payne for calling this hearing on pipeline safety. On June 10th, in 1999, a pipeline explosion in Bellingham, Washington, claimed the lives of two 10-year-old boys and a young man of 18 years. The explosion released 237,000 gallons of gasoline into Whatcom Creek that flowed through Whatcom Falls Park into Bellingham, Washington. The ensuing fireball caused millions of dollars of damage, shocked the community that day, and is still a seminal moment in the history of the town of Bellingham. It's that explosion that spurred my commitment, which has been steadfast over the last 20 years, to the highest level of pipeline safety. For my entire tenure in Congress, I have fought to reduce the risk of pipeline incidents, promote transparency of pipeline safety information for local communities, and increase accountability for pipeline operators. And Mr. Chair, I'd ask unanimous consent to submit a letter for the record from a parent of one of the boys killed in the explosion in my district, Bellingham City Council member Skip Williams. This letter outlines a number of recommendations to improve the safety and oversight of our pipeline system. So I'd ask unanimous consent to enter that in the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
I share many of Council Member Williams' views, and as ranking member, will ensure that this committee's work to reauthorize the Pipes Act of 2020 puts safety at the forefront of every policy decision. Putting safety first means greater oversight and accountability of the activities of pipeline operators. It means greater transparency for local communities and the public. Reducing the risk of incidents means applying safety requirements where appropriate to existing infrastructure. PHMSA, the agency, cannot effectively do its job if the infrastructure already in the ground is off limits to safety regulation. Improving safety means preventing incidents. PHMSA needs to have the resources and staff to inspect pipelines, conduct investigations if incidents occur, and to take appropriate enforcement action. I'm especially pleased that we'll hear detailed recommendations on what actions Congress can take to advance safely from a fellow Washingtonian and constituent from Whatcom County on today's panel, Bill Karam, Executive Director of the Pipeline Safety Trust. The trust was formed following the deadly Olympic pipeline explosion in my district, and I think you'll hear from Bill that the Pipeline Safety Trust is both a watchdog and also can be a partner with communities and with the industry to ensure long-term safety. I appreciate each of our witnesses as well being here today. I want to welcome PHMSA Deputy Administrator Tristan Brown, who visited the district to tour the Olympic pipeline site in Bellingham. PHMSA has a new charge as well since the enactment of the bipartisan infrastructure law to distribute $1 billion over 5 years under the first ever natural gas distribution infrastructure safety and modernization grant program. The $200 million per year available to municipalities and community-owned utilities in FY22 is the first installment of funding to repair or replace natural gas pipelines and help reduce incidents and improve safety, and this is just the beginning. All safety responsibility, although must not fall to PHMSA, I encourage the involvement of communities and public interest organizations in pipeline safety, and I support ongoing grants to support the 400 state-based safety inspectors of interstate pipelines and local distribution systems. Finally, as we convene the Subcommittee on Railroads, Pipelines, and Hazardous Materials for the first time in Congress, I do want to call attention to the request from members on my side of the aisle, led by Ranking Member Payne and Representative Sykes, that this committee hold a hearing on the Norfolk Southern derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. I endorse and support their efforts. Pipelines play a critical role in the nation's infrastructure and the daily lives of Americans. And we're here today to make sure the national pipeline network safely delivers essential energy products across the country. I look forward to today's discussion. With that, I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Larsen yields. Again, I'd like to welcome our witnesses and